Today I'm going to be speaking with a woman who I already spoke to a few times, and what I sensed was a genuine love and care for people. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. A little bit about her own story and also what her organization, Fruits of the Family Tables, is doing in our community to help people. And you can see the mission statement on her website where it tells us that she provides services for the senior citizens, the youth, those who struggle with drug and alcohol abuse, and also men and women who are getting out of prison. And that's the group that we're primarily focusing on, but I just wanted us to see all the things that she's doing within our community. And I just want to get started by allowing her to really share what she's doing and share more of her story and what her organization is going to do moving forward. So how you doing, Cherelle?
How you doing, Mark? Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody. My name is Sharell Wilson. I'm with Fruits of the Family Table. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we're going in on our second year of being in existence. So a little bit about me. I am a social worker. I'm from Philly. I've attended Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Public School District, all the way up to high school. And I attended all the universities in Philadelphia, Community College, Temple University, and LaSalle. So, yeah, born and raised. And basically, I'm a social worker, and I have a passion for people. I've seen at an early age, I came up during the takeover in our communities with crack and how that affected folks' lives. I never wavered about what I wanted to do in terms of helping people. I feel like that's my calling, that's my life's mission. And we all get to a place where we have to be open and vulnerable enough to say, I need some support. And so I started Fruits of the Family. I always considered it my baby. I don't have any children. And Fruits of the Family Table was my baby that's been baking for years. I did a lot of different social work positions and behavioral health positions. And I've always considered myself to be a Robin to a Batman, right? So I was always a good sidekick, and I never really seen myself as that person that would step in the forefront. Even this, like me and Mark was talking, this is new to me to kind of be even the kind of face, so to speak, of an organization, because I just know that I just want to get in and do the work. And also I believe in training up and helping to train up other up and coming professionals to just do the work. Because when people trust you with different parts of them, is really sacred. It's sacred work that we do. And I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, but I feel like the work that we do when you're working with somebody is just as significant. So yeah, I've worked in a lot of different parts of the behavioral health field, including substance use, forensics, therapy, mental illness. And yeah, everything was pointing in like 2018, 2019 early for me to really get Fruits of the Family Table off and running. So I had to just take a leap of faith. I took a leap of faith with it, and I started just slow walking the process and learning as I could. And, I was being blessed with just different people in my lives that was just helping me. And the most encouraging thing for me was that other people was able to see the vision, because if it's something that you've been holding on to for a long time, it's kind of like it's personal, you know what I mean? And you don't really expect other people to get it. But then when I see, people was like, oh, really? That sounds good. It just was really encouraging to me, because it took a lot within me to say, okay, it's time. The first thing that we started off with was our reintegration case management services. And it literally, how you never really know in your journey that you're being set up for something. And I took all the skills that I've acquired throughout my life and working for different organizations, and I poured them into Fruits of the Family Table. So we were able to develop this case management unit, and again, having some good people around me that believed in the mission, we had a little team and we were able to provide those services. It started with a partnership with another organization that was teaching the participants, the men and women that had either a history of being within the system, the criminal justice system, or they were currently on parole or probation. And they were teaching them a skill, a work skill, and we would provide that supportive case management services. And it was pretty successful. And we had signed on to different cohorts within the same organization. And it was just a really good experience. And yeah, that's really how it started. And then we continue to grow beyond that, because right now we're all at home and doing what we can do in light of COVID. And we actually ended up losing a contract, in the midst of everything. But I was really just grateful for the torch is lit, and I just can't take that fire away, so our charge is still to continue to provide that type of support. It is remote. However, we are continuing to provide the support for men and women that are really trying to find their ground. And one thing that I am learning is that, like, to be released right now, the world is so different. Things are happening. It's just like a whole new world. And, our services have been helpful. And I'm grateful to say that to some that are willing to continue to stay connected with us. And we're just walking it out and we're doing the work.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because I see that your organization is part of the Philadelphia Reentry Coalition. When did you become a part of that? And what was it that made you get involved with their mission that they're trying to reduce this rate of recidivism?
So I was actually referred from a colleague to look into the Reentry Coalition, and I reached out to them. They were very responsive, and they were just, very welcoming to a very new organization such as Fruits of the Family Table. So I love the opportunity for, just to be able to pick up a phone or send an email and get a response back in a timely fashion. And all of those things happened. And we signed up, and the benefit is that we're able to connect and network with other providers and other people that are continuing to fight this fight as it relates to ending recidivism. They had our meeting, the quarterly meeting, and that quarterly meeting was in COVID. And it was really good. And it was a lot of people on the line. It was very encouraging. It was very empowering. And they're a really, really supportive coalition.
Okay. Now, before I get to the questions about how your organization takes a person through what steps they go through when you're helping them, I wanted to know, like, what was it in your life? Was it anything in your life or in your family and friends' life that had you, made recidivism or this problem with a person in and out of prison? Was it front and center in your life or family and friends' life around you that made you have this passion to help people?
So yes, actually it was. When I had some work that I did inside of the prisons, and I would go to like different prisons on State Road, and I would just see the disproportionate, how Black and brown people were disproportionately represented, as if Black and brown people are the main, and in some instances, from what I've seen, the only people that were committing crimes and being charged for that. So that to me, to kind of sit in an official visit room at CFCF and see the family visits in the center, and I don't know if this is how they're still doing it, I guess pre-COVID, and to see a lot of just people, Black and brown people, that for me was heartbreaking, you know what I mean? And to have relatives that was incarcerated and to be impacted by that, and to be on the other side of the fence and see how the entanglements of the criminal justice system is just keeping a lot of our people down, you know what I mean? And it's sad to see, because we know that it's a lot of jails up there, and men are the primary ones that are incarcerated, and the numbers I'm sure are increasing as well for women. But it's our families. And one thing about Fruits of the Family, we have a really vast mission, right? Because you mentioned like the Asian, the families, the individuals, because our belief is that if you help, the individual, let's just say we're just working with individuals right now, they can take some of the behaviors that they may get from us, the suggestions of changing certain ways about themselves. They bring that home to their families, and they can then, just kind of lead the way. But when we have a lot of our folks sitting incarcerated, the families are broken down. They are broken down, and I'm all about healthy families. That's why, the organization's name, the Fruits of the Family, because ultimately we all came from somewhere, whether we chose our family or it's blood related. So we just want to strengthen families and to see those visits, and just to see how things were really impacted, how lives and families have been impacted and continue to be impacted and affected over the years because of there being not enough services, or not enough resources and things like that. That was really my charge, and I feel like I did a lot of work as it relates to recidivism, even when you're dealing with substance use disorder, because somebody may have a charge, possession with intent to deliver, or possession charge, or something like that. And all of these things are interrelated. So a lot of times you see how it's just really an impactful type of thing. And we want to do all that we can do to try to turn it around, to turn the tides as it relates to somebody coming in and out, in and out, in and out. There's so much more to receive, and that's something that, we really try to pride ourselves on, my staff and I, just pouring into people so they can see themselves differently and don't have that desire to say, okay, I want, this is not working for me, so I'm gonna go back to what I know. You know what I mean? So that is like one of the main charges for us. But just getting back to your question, Mark, just thinking about the family unit and what family means, and keeping the family unit together. The whole going after and trying to integrate our services into that component, I think is really, really significant and important. And sometimes that group of folks, it's a lot of stereotypes surrounding, it's a lot of biases, and we want to break through that. You know what I mean? I have 4 uncles, and I was raised, in a household when I was younger, a bunch of men, a bunch of Black men, you know what I mean? And everybody had their own paths to walk, you know what I mean? So I know the significance of a man in the home, you know what I mean? I have a father, and, it takes a lot, to try to really, keep the streets, keep them quiet, you know what I mean, in your ear, so you can continue to go the right path, So, but I have a personal passion to see people just do to become their best versions of themselves. And that definitely includes staying out of incarceration.
Yeah, and no, I know exactly what you're talking about, because that's a cycle that I was able to see myself in. The desire that I have was really continue to grow, because I want to see that cycle end as well. Like you said, when there's no father in the home and the son doesn't have someone to raise him the right way, the cycle just continues, and it won't stop until we step in and do things like what you're doing and what your organization is doing to put an end to it. And so that's what, and I wanted to, that's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to know what are the steps that you take a person through when they sign up for your program.
Okay. So what we do, we get our referrals. Now we're getting referrals. I'm so grateful for this too, even in light of COVID, but we are still getting referrals. So someone can make a referral to Fruits of the Family by reaching out directly to myself, email, or going on our website, and connecting with the Partner With Us app, the Partner With Us link. And so what we do initially is an intake, and the intakes are being done now remotely and over the phone. And that intake is a lot of questions. I always say I'm a social worker. I'm going to get all up in your business. You know what I mean? But the intakes, we're asking questions about their lives and trying to get a clearer picture on who that individual is and what their needs are. And from there, we determine some goals, and it's a collective effort. And we do a goal sheet, and then those goals and the objectives, there are objectives for the case manager as well as the participant. And we revisit that periodically between 45 and 60 days. And the work begins, you know what I mean? So and we are determining the needs based on the individual. So it is truly individualized care. There are some things that we do, something which is called a safety plan, because a lot of times we have a tendency to exist in crisis mode. And sometimes things just come up, or sometimes things are always coming up. So with our safety plan, everybody gets that. And what that is being able to identify who your supports are, being able to identify how I respond in the midst of a crisis, what things I need to look out for myself. Who can I call if I'm in a crisis and I just need to be distracted? Who can I call if I'm in a crisis and I need some actual, like, hands-on help? And that is something that we do to start, just to give somebody something tangible. Even if they haven't even thought about it, it allows you to think, okay, if I'm angry, how am I responding to others? How am I feeling physically? Is my head hurting? You know what I mean? Is my palm sweaty? Just those pointers, so we can know if there's something going on, how and who you should reach out to. And from there, we hit the ground running. So whether it's making referrals for someone, whether it's talking and providing some education on different areas that person may not be ready to address right now. So we're definitely taking, whatever pace that individual would like to walk in, we're walking with them, unless it's a issue where they may be at harm of providing more harm to themselves or someone else. That's when we say, okay, we have a concern. If it's a housing concern and that person is about to be homeless, that is, definitely a red alert and a high priority type of situation. One thing that we also like to do is serve and love. I'm big on everything is not for everybody in terms of like different industries and things like that. So any message, any type of, if we got to light the fire under someone to say, okay, this is what you need to do, we like to do it in a spirit of love and concern, And when I say family, I truly mean that, because there are some participants that I've worked with even prior to Fruits of the Family, but it was like under the guise in my heart of the organization. But it's just the relationships that we like to build along the way, because I don't want to just see somebody successful under Fruits of the Family. I want to see you in a year when you say, that was, a helpful type of thing, thank you. And this is where I'm at right now. And even if they're maybe not at their, their best level at that time, the idea is that, okay, well, how can we assist you with getting there? So I feel like once Fruits of the Family, always Fruits of the Family, if they're choosing to be. And one thing that we also do is try, because we're all human, and we are really, really big on the words that we use, and the words that we speak over our lives. And I truly believe that you can speak and think death over your life, over your goals, over your aspirations, over your dreams, or you can think and speak life over them and, see it come into fruition. So one thing that we do is we share positive affirmations with our folks, and even those that may not still be a part of the program formally, but also as a way to, stay encouraged. It may be something that encouraged me and my staff, and we're saying, hey, we want to see if this can help you as well. And that, I think, is good. And that also provides that cracked door just in case we have a participant that wants to walk back in it.
Okay. Now, I want to know, do your organization have any employment resources, housing resources, or do you always refer them to an organization that you partner with that has those kinds of things, like professional training, things like that?
So regarding employment and housing, we have community partners that we work with.
Okay.
Depending on that person's level and need and level of comfort, they may not be ready, you know what I mean, to take the next step and actually reach out to someone. So we try to recognize what that person may want to do during our session. So if you want to, let's talk about the last type of positions you've had, so I feel like our job is very it depends on the person's needs and their situations, but we are open, to assist in however we can assist. But as it relates to employment, we do have our partners that we rely on. We're constantly in the field of networking, especially now with who is still providing certain services and who is not, and if they are, at what capacity they are, just so we can know who's out there. But again, that person's and their individual needs is always being considered. We have had workshops, and we do provide soft skill workshops that would address like communication skills, goal setting, self-awareness, different things and little parts about ourselves that if we don't have them up to par, they may always interfere with that person getting the job and keeping a job, you know what I mean, or getting connected to school and staying in school. So we were doing things like that in the past. With COVID, we had a few workshops where we're trying to, we have geared our workshops more to the climate. But if that person requires that type of coaching within our case management sessions, we are open to providing that.
Okay. Now, I really wanted to focus on the individual. Each some questions around the heart and the actions of the individual. What responsibility does they have? And I want to know what are some things that you observe that usually causes a person to not get ahead in their goals or not reach their next level of trying to get where they're trying to go. And what are some things that you see trip people up in the way that they think, in the way that and things that they do, and family and friends? I wanted to know certain things like that.
So I would say, and I think we all, well, I can speak for myself as well. To get to changing your lifestyle, no matter what it is, there's a lot of things that can hold you back. You know what I mean? It could be the way you were raised, you know what I mean? And who may have been in your life or who may have not been in your life. I feel like sometimes, and just thinking about making those steps and taking those steps to change uh, those words that we speak over ourselves, the way in which that we look at ourselves. If I don't think I can make it, if I think I'm a failure, if I think that this is all that's working for me, and I'm just going to keep doing this until the day that I die, it may be likely that that will happen. So that's one of the big things that we try to do is encourage and motivate our participants to change their minds about it, about how you might look at yourself.
Yeah.
And try to turn those thoughts, those negative thoughts around, because sometimes we immediately think, well, I'm frustrated, I ain't dealing with it. You know what I mean? But in life, we gotta have some of those bad days, and you know what I mean, to really appreciate the good ones, and everything. And we really try to change the mindset and just kind of give a lot of that energy so the mindset can be changed. But a lot of times it's a lot internal, but also external.
Yeah.
Certain families and environments, certain places, and it may sound cliche, people, places, and things, those things can get you caught up. And that's just the truth of the matter. And we all have an old man and a new man, and you're trying to walk into your newness. But that old lifestyle and even the old way that your friends and family might see you, they might not even be accepting of the new person that you are. So it may be easier to kind of slip right back on in there. So boundaries is definitely important, even with our loved ones at times, because again, they may not see us for who we're becoming and who we're growing into being. And then I know that we're talking about like the people that we serve, but I always try to make it relative, because we all have something that we may have had to an entanglement that we had to cut off. in order for us to continue to grow as individuals. But I think, sometimes that hope and how we look at ourselves is very impactful. And the coping skills as well. If you don't have healthy coping skills, and you can't take a bad day, that fear of rejection, sometimes that's hard to accept if somebody is coming at you and you say no. And I just think about some of, even if I made a referral in the past, and going with somebody to a referral, just to kind of make sure everything works right, because I do also believe that the stereotype and the stigma attached to some of our men and women is so heavy, and people walk around with it, and barriers are created just because that person may have a record, you know what I mean? And a lot of times it would take some support, just having that right resource with you that can walk you through it as well as talk you through it. Because certain things, especially when you're trying to walk in your newness and walk in this new person that you're trying to become, it could be very discouraging. So resources and support is very significant, and the lack thereof is also very significant.
All right, and now this is, I wanted to focus on what are some things that you say if your organization had these kinds of resources, or if these certain things change, like you said, external changes. What are some of those that you think will be very helpful for your organization, and like maybe like you said, the prison system. You said you was in there for working in there for a little bit. What are some things that you think, if you had, it would really help your efforts of what you're doing be much more successful at helping people?
Mm-hmm. So, and that's a really good question, and that's like a really thoughtful, yeah. So I'm thinking from like a system level. I just
Yeah.
feel like as a system, we have to be able to redefine what success looks like. And I know that sometimes in order to secure funds and things like that, we definitely have to see numbers aiming at the outcome, the overall outcome. So if you want to connect someone to employment, but instead of employment, they might realize, I need to go to treatment. I got a drug problem, got an alcohol problem. That's a success story. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes it requires changing your mind about what success might look like, even if it affects or impacts your bottom line. And I just have to say that because one less person in this program may impact somebody's bottom line at the end of the day, but at least a life was saved. If because if somebody has a substance use disorder, they might have to go to treatment. You know what I mean? So I think that looking at success differently. I also believe that, and I'm just speaking personally, because one thing that I do, and I am working out in my mind, is to start making things more inclusive and not so secluded, in terms of like, if you're working with folks, you're working with everybody and pulling everybody into the fold. And I know in the field of substance use disorders, we have a lot of what's called peer specialists. And peer specialists are folks with lived experience that can say, I've been on the other side. Just like you said, Mark, I've been on the other side. And now I'm trying to do something to make the path clearer and brighter for those that are trying to get out, right? So they have that in substance use disorder. And that's very, very, is very, very much celebrated, and it's very, very much needed. And they have a forensic, I believe it's called forensic specialist support, something like that. But I don't think that it's utilized as much as it is in substance use and that in the field of addiction. So I think that will help as well. So somebody can see that, okay, I see so and so is in this specific platform, and if they can do it, I can do it too. I think that's very impactful, because when people are coming out, they need to be able to identify with something. You know what I mean? And say, what, if so and so could do it, I could do it too. So I think that's something that's very significant and helpful. And just I just feel like as a system, things need to reflect what is really happening in our state, in our counties, in our cities. You know what I mean? And again, if we look at the statistics, and I don't know, I feel like things are less now because of COVID, but there is a lot of disproportion as it relates to who is in jail and who is not in jail. So we definitely need equality as it relates to that. And my hope and prayer is that things will start changing because just because you're a different skin color, it does not make you a worse person than another skin color. And that's just something that is just seen all the way through. Right now, I don't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, I know what you're talking about because of my time in the criminal justice system, so I understand the the unlawful type punishment that sometimes us of African American get over certain crimes more than other races. So I know exactly what I'm talking about from my own experience.
Yeah.
And being alongside people where they got certain crimes that were punished more harshly than a person of another race who we would know, who we can clearly see is a worse crime, but they are just some things that I see myself, and like people like you who never even been through it, you can see it as well. So it was very clear. It was very clear.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to really see, because I want to see changes in external, like the prison system, the criminal justice system, area systems like that, where it would really help uh, reduce this rate. And I'm a person who doesn't play the blame game, because I know in my own life, in order for me to move forward, I had to look at myself and first deal with what I knew was wrong about me, instead of looking at what needed to be changed outside of me. So, but I do understand that there are some things that are going on within the prison and within the court system that hinders a person from succeeding at trying to get their life on the right track, and discourages a person to when they do trip up, it discourages a person to continue.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to, like I said, I don't play the blame, but I also wanted to see what can be done apart from the individual, like in the court system and the prison system. They just two areas that I know about.
Right.
Right.
And even just getting solid referrals and solid partners also, I think, is something that could be done. And I don't know what the process is for like referrals or to connect someone to other services, as well as maybe prior to someone being released, looking at their support system and trying to see what may be needed on that end, because a lot of times somebody can go back because of a technical violation. Something could have happened at the house, and you going back because you may not have anywhere else to go, or something that could have potentially been avoided if your environment was explored a little bit more. You know what I mean? So I feel like just a collaborative. I mean, back in the day, people would kind of stay in their own lane. So if you work with the Asian population, you would stay there. If you work with drug and alcohol, you would stay there. If you work with forensic, you would stay there. But all of every system is touching. Everybody can identify that everything is overlapping. So, even as it relates to how, they have going on right now with the police department trying to be more equipped to assist someone that has mental illness. You know what I mean? So things won't happen like it did with Walter Wallace. You know what I mean? So I just think that we have to be open to be educated enough to work with everybody, and that's the thing, and know who to call if you're not the best one for the job. And that's one thing that I believe in as well. Like when I was talking about referrals and resources, I know that we have a huge mission and we want to help this person and do this, but I know that me and my own might, I can't do all of that. So you have to see who are the key players and how do I connect this person to that service or that organization to make sure they're in the best hands possible.
Yeah.
So I
Now,
think a lot of coordination, and I think the Reentry Coalition, I feel like they're good at connecting different people.
yeah, that's what I had when I went to their website. That's what I read, and that's what was encouraging because I know, like, one thing I learned is you can't do it by yourself, and even as an organization, you gotta have other people sharing methods, sharing ideas on how they help. What do they succeed at? Things like that. So when I heard about the Reentry Coalition, I was encouraged that they were trying to bring a bunch of organizations like yours together to work together to try because you have the same mission, you have the same task of helping people get out these streets, and it is very helpful to see that they understand it can't be done alone. So that was one thing that when I heard about this, I was like, "Dad, this is a great idea," because each one of us individually we can do some things, but as a whole, coming together, working together, I think the mission can be achieved a lot quicker and also a lot better than
Absolutely.
individually. Now,
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, do you do any partnering with people within the prison? Because from my own experience, I see that the reintegration process it starts in prison, and I say that because I think a person has to make that decision within prison and have to have the help to begin to start that in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you do any partnering or ever thought about doing any work within the prison because of that?
Yeah, yeah, and that's a really really good point. And as I mentioned too, just trying to establish relationships and things like that. Yes, yes. We had an opportunity to do some work, and this was early pre-COVID. We started, and we were able to make some connections. We were able to be blessed enough to get a contract, and we were doing some work, and it definitely makes all of the difference. It really does. To kind of start those conversations, getting in touch with, the mindset of that person and, trying to explore like, okay, what the strategies, how we're going to support that person on the outside. So we were able to do that. And it was really, really impactful. And I'm grateful to say that even in spite of the contracts ending, because they have an expiration date, that it did make for us to even continue to be able to support some of our folks that was on the inside and they came out. So yes, it definitely makes all the difference. Just making the plans and doing everything that needs to be done. I am also trying to work with the prison system now. We have a program that we're trying to develop as we speak. So definitely that's something that I'm looking forward to. But it is very significant, and even the research shows that you having that clear and that specific and very intentional plan and making that relationship, it helps. It helps to continue that for when that person is released and they're continuing to walk that walk. That support definitely makes all the difference. And while someone, again, is on the inside, you also can get some information about who's on the outside waiting. You know what I mean? And the idea to see, okay, well, what are the needs and how can we support even the family unit? You know what I mean? Because everybody's situation is different. So yeah, it makes all the difference. And I'm hoping to do more of that type of work.
Yeah. Nah, like I said, because when you step out of those gates, it's like you go from the 50s to a NASCAR race, and the speed of life ramps up so crazy it can really discourage a person, really what you call it, cause a person to do what they're most commonly prone to do. When you step out and you realize it's not as easy as we thought it would be, it really makes the the desire and also the path a lot much harder than where if you have the help while you're in prison preparing you for this life when you step out of there, because it's totally different than the way that we live when we're in there.
Right.
And if you need that preparation, especially with all the new technology, you got to think people who were arrested before this technology boom is a total life change.
Yeah.
Like we out here, we naturally just went along with the technology changes, but you talk to a person who was in there before the iPhone came out and now come home is a total different. The smartphone is a total different thing of how you look for jobs and how you apply for jobs, and all kinds. Everything is done through technology now,
Right.
and we don't get that good training in prison for that.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to really look out for those organizations who are already inside and try to partner with them, because that's where it starts at. That's where it starts.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I mean, you said a lot there. You know what I mean? And sometimes, the route is you kind of go back to what you know, and I think support and, like you said, preparation is very significant, and even a plan. You know what I mean? To say, okay, well, a plan to take it one step at a time, because I know sometimes it's like the anxiety or the anxiousness of getting out, getting back on your feet and things like that. And it's just like easy does it one step at a time. Let's prioritize things and just do what we need to do. And even family may be ready, you know what I mean? And again, sometimes families' expectations on their loved one may be too over the top, for their loved one to take, because they got to get their own self together. So it's definitely a preparation, as well as that ongoing support and awareness of where everybody is and realistic goals, and trying to set them as well as achieve them, but in a reasonable time.
Yeah, because it'd be the shock of the change of the way things are ran
Yeah.
that really causes the person, like you said, to just go back to what they're more prone to do, rather than take on that task.
Right. Right.
I know exactly what you now. I want to know, like, what did you have looking forward for your organization in the next few years? Is there anything that you plan to do, or anywhere you want to see yourself in the next few years, your organization?
Oh, absolutely. So Fruits of the Family, and I'm just always encouraged, because like I said, it went from like a dream, you know what I mean? So every time that I commit myself to anything, Fruits of the Family, it's just like, wow, this is really coming into fruition. So, it's been a faith walk for me truly, and it's very humbling all the time to even like talk about and do, because it's people also see the mission. So this is even encouraging. And again, thank you for the opportunity. But with Fruits of the Family, I just want to continue to grow as an organization. I want us to continue to help our folks that we have been helping, and meet new family member for Fruits of the Family. I can definitely see the reintegration case management services growing. I also would like to incorporate individuals with lived experience, and have them sit on my board and have them work within Fruits of the Family table, because I want us to just continue to be stronger. I definitely am one for what the numbers are saying. What do we have to do to continue to fight and end recidivism, and continue to pour into people to have them become their best selves? So I definitely see the reintegration case management services working. And the other service that I would definitely love to get into, and I'm hoping and praying for spring of 2021, is to start supporting the family members of the individuals that are incarcerated, and just assisting the family and just different skills, whether it be problem solving, whether it's goal setting, to be able to be open and willing to receive their relative in whatever state they come out as, so we can continue to work on the family unit and strengthening families, even while their relative is incarcerated and even when they return. So that's a program that I'm diligently working on developing and finding funding for. It's working with the youth and teaching them a skill. And this is something that I can see us doing in the summer. And the skill would be rehabbing, rebuilding furniture. That's a skill that I do on my pastime, and it's something that I truly enjoy doing, and it's definitely something that is lucrative, but it's a program that I'm working on, just getting off the ground in preparation for a summer where we actually don't have to do as much social distancing. And I just want us to continue growing overall as an organization. The one thing about us switching to this whole remote lifestyle is that Fruits of the Family, we do not have brick and mortar. So we have depended a lot on our contracts and their space as well as the public space. So I can definitely see us securing within the next year or two some type of brick and mortar space. But I do love the idea of being free and going from community to community. And that was one thing that we were able to do within our case management is breaking down those barriers of, well, you in Germantown, so, our office is in X. No, if you're in Germantown, we're going to meet you in Germantown in your neck of the woods. So we did what was called community case management, and it did work because that was eliminating the barrier of whether it's transportation or something like that. Yes, we would travel, but our participants, they may have just walked up the street, to meet me at the library or to meet me at a coffee shop or something like that. So I do want to have space, a home base. However, we still would do that community-based case management.
Okay. Well, I was, like I said when we first started, I was encouraged from the first couple of times that I talked to you because, like I said, I really see your heart for helping people, and that's what I want to through these programs. That's what I want to encourage and motivate others to have. Really, instead of focusing on our own needs and what kind of help we need, I think it is better when we focus on others and have that desire and just make those efforts to help others who especially can't help themselves. And that's what I get from you whenever I speak to you. And I was encouraged today just hearing all the things that you have already done and that you, like you said, that you want to continue to do. So it was a blessing speaking with you. And I know as I move forward and get started in my own involvement in this, I know we will cross paths again, and hopefully we be able to work together and partner and things that we could benefit, our organizations could benefit from one another.
Absolutely. Definitely. And I really don't believe in any coincidences. Seriously, you know what I mean? So there was definitely a reason why we were able to connect. And I appreciate you. And like I said in our previous conversations, you have a lot to offer. And I feel like your impact will be very strong as you continue to go out there and do what you have to do. And somebody needs to hear what you have to say. Somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody needs to hear that ministry, and they will benefit from it. So yes, and I totally believe that we will work together in the future. I know that.
Yes. All right. Now, Sharell, I wanted you to, before we leave, I wanted you to share your information, how people can get in touch with you, read more about your organization, and if they want to get involved or donate or anything.
Okay, thank you, Mark. So our website is fruitsofthefamily.org. If you want to know more, a lot of our information is current on there. So if someone would like to sign up for our services, they can go on the website and there's a tab called Partner with Us, and the email will go directly to myself. Also, my email address is S like Cherelle, S period Wilson, T like Tom, F like Frank, T like Tom @gmail.com. And we are on Facebook and Instagram at Fruits of the Family, And there also is a donation tab on our website, fruitsofthefamily.com. We would definitely be open to it as we continue to develop and roll out programming. And right now, also we have a cash app, and that is the $ Fruits of the Fam. And that's the $ Fruits of the Fam. So, yes, and our business number is 215-606-3554. Again, 215-606-3554. Give us a call, send us an email. I will be so grateful to talk to you about future Fruits of the Family Table services, what we have going on right now. And we are taking referrals for our reintegration case management services.
Yeah, I'm going to have all this information that you just shared with us under the description, under the video in the description, so people can look down under the video and get all that you just shared with us.
Okay. And thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate you. I really do.
Yeah, it was a blessing speaking to you as well, Sharell. I was encouraged because, like I said, I'm just getting started in this field of work. So I wanted to speak with people like you to already get some feel of what's going on already, what is needed, what resources are available, so I can know how to go about the services that I'm going to have for people as well.
Yes, I can't wait to hear them and use them.